Alright, Forbidden Battleground 4, Part 3. So this is the Origins of Light challenge. Now, Origins of Light usually doesn't have too much trouble because they have a pretty solid SR team. I am going to be using SP Freya here. I might be able to get away with normal Freya if I had really good equipment for a Lancer Freya. But my SP Freya kind of has like just okay equipment, so I'm going to have to stick with that. So Lifney is going to be very important for this particular fight because her fixed damage is does so much damage. And it's going to be pretty essential for me to be able to kill these guys on time. She also has acid burns, which of course is very valuable, especially here. That Force Priest at the start is just one of the biggest annoyances. So you can either cast Mass Resist or Miracle on the first turn here. Ideally he would cast Mass Resist because then he wouldn't heal anybody, but you know, obviously I want the strategy to work either way. Acid Burns wouldn't stop the Assassin there from getting healed because he's going to use Cold Blood, which makes him run down both turns of the heal block from Acid Burns on the first turn. Nevertheless, you know, I just use Rewind on Sophia and get the Acid Burns back up. So when I AoE again, the Lobster won't keep healing them. So I do whip the Assassin there so I can make sure to get his HP low enough so Kirikaze can finish him off. If I had Berserkers, or better yet, Barbarians trained, then this would be a much easier threshold to hit, because obviously those are way more offensive than heavy infantry are, but I don't have them trained, so I'm gonna have to stick with that. So, the majority of this map is really just making sure you check all the threat ranges constantly, and make sure you don't get caught by the Assassin Cold Blooding into threat range, or the Aquatic Generals using Tidal Surge into your threat range. I gotta be very careful when I take the hits from the Aquatic Generals because, as usual, these are very stat-inflated PvE enemies, and they have Aqua Blast. Aqua Blast is one of the strongest single-target attacks in the game, and a lot of times that can just one-shot a tank. But not if I wait until their water goes away. And then if I bait them on the turn where their water is gone, then obviously Aqua Blast really doesn't do very much at all. Now I believe the Freya I have is strong enough to take a Aqua Blast even in water. But she needs to be at 100% life. And she probably needs to have her defense buff up as well. Which sometimes gets taken away because this assassin here will, and the assassin to start as well, they both can steal buffs. So as you can see, I'm just counting out tiles a specific way. I'm also trying my best not to utilize any breezes I got, which is what I got here. So I'm trying to move only 4 blocks if I can, or less. Because obviously if I made a strategy to revolve around getting breezes, then that would be terribly useful. So here, here that Sheikah Mage is actually going to be chasing Kirikaze and Jessica at the top there. Splitting them up is pretty ideal here because you know, Freya can't take that many hits. I can't really rely on Regenerate on this map like I can on a bunch of other maps because that assassin sometimes will just steal your Regenerate, and it'll just screw everything up. So it's a lot better if I just bait the enemies one at a time and try to get Freya to bar them down. Since I took care of the Force Priest at the start, this really is just like I can just slowly kill them over time. I don't need to worry about it. Although the one annoying thing here is that for whatever reason the Lobster decides to chase the units upward instead to the left. And that Aquatic General just stood completely in place. I assume because he was targeting Sophia and he didn't know how to reach her, but that's still... Sometimes the AI does things that makes no sense to me. So there isn't a specific way to move in this map. I'm not really like doing a preset way of moving. I'm just following a couple core rules to make sure I can split the enemies up. take them 1 or 2 at a time, because there's no way Freya can take more than probably 2 hits. And here you have the assassin stealing buffs, and he actually steals Freya's barb buff. So as you can see, he actually did a lot of damage there. So that Aquatic General has Aqua Blast up, but he does not have Tidal Surge up, and he is out of water, so I can bait Aqua Blast this turn. I, of course, always have Jessica's teleport to fall back on if I ever get into a bit of trouble. And that's why I brought Jessica here instead of someone who might be generally more useful, like, say, Ruin. The R Jessica is one of the best rare characters in the game, at least for PvE, because her skill set is just very useful. Teleport needs no introduction. And Meter is actually very good as well, because then it doesn't matter what her stats are, she will always do fixed damage of a certain amount. So Freya gets pretty close to dying here. So as you can see, a lot of the damage I'm doing here is from Lifany's fixed damage talent. And like I said, that is one of the most valuable things in this map. If you don't have a very strong Origins team, I do highly recommend training up Lifany. She just has a lot of tools to offer you. And of course, Jessica here as well, as even though she's an R unit, she works quite well for maps like this. She also works quite well in glory maps as well if you really need it. And even mythical maps, so she's a pretty good R unit to raise, even though usually R units are not really worth raising in my opinion. Mostly because they don't really cost less to raise than an SR or an SSR character in terms of material investment, which is always my biggest problem with R characters. Like, I don't really mind that they're weaker necessarily, but the fact that they cost almost as many resources to raise is kind of silly. But as you can see, it's just like the rest of the map is just going to be me kiting these guys around. So I stayed out of range of the Sheikah Mage for quite a while. And that, of course, is because he has Spatial Strike, which is one of the most annoying things in any of these challenges, because it just throws so much RNG into the mix. Obviously, the quote-unquote correct strategy is to not get hit with it until you know the RNG doesn't matter, which is what I'm doing here. So I've put Sophia next to Freya. I'm going to bait the Spatial Strike. A number of tries I did on this map, sometimes the Sheikah Mage would just randomly decide not to cast Spatial Strike and instead just Fireball Freya, which would sometimes just get her killed, which really, really pissed me off when it happened, because that's just one of the things about this game. It's like you can never really predict what exactly the enemies are going to do. So I was about to cast a spell here, but then I realized, I shouldn't take advantage of the breeze, so... So Lobster's going to keep chasing Jessica. I'm not taking any unnecessary risks here. I can take a slow and it's not really going to be a problem. I am going to get pretty close to running out of time on this map, but that's mostly because sometimes the AI does things that make no sense to me. I could have saved the teleport earlier and not teleported Kirikaze, since I ended up not really using him to fight the Sheikah Mage, and then have teleported Jessica herself to the right side of this sinkhole. That way the Lobster would have chased or somewhere closer to the rest of the group, and I would have had more turns to deal with them. So if that ends up being a problem for you and you decide to follow this strategy, just keep that in mind. I guess one other thing to mention is that Lifine is using Sky Archers on this map, and that is very valuable. Obviously, there's so many impassable sky tiles on this map, and it's pretty useful for Lifine to have, be able to walk over all of these sinkholes. So here comes Meteor. Fixed damage from Jessica and more fixed damage from Lifine. Like I said, this is pretty key to be able to kill those guys on down because they have this lobster especially has just so much defense, and it's really hard to effectively deal a lot of damage to it. In cases like this, fixed damage is the way to go, and of course Freya herself also has a lot of fixed damage. Relatively easy to finish this guy off. Alright, that's going to be it for the Origins Challenge run. So let's move on to the Princess Challenge run. And for the Princess Challenge, I'm actually also going to be doing the 29,000 power challenge, which you can see here. My power is well below 29,000. Like usual, the easiest way to do that is to just remove a unit instead of having 5 units that are weaker. It's better to just have 4 stronger units and just take one out, hit 29,000 threshold. A very important part of the strategy is Sonya. Well, actually, every unit is important here, just because I really don't have any choices. Sonya needs to be pretty strong. I do equip a Fear of Tyr on her helm slot, and of course I have her exclusive. And I need all of that to be able to kill this assassin here. And of course I also have werewolves here, which is going to be a problem when I want to kill that Forest Priest, but at least I have other units to take care of that. Narm is also going to be very important here. Narm with her exclusive is just such a powerful PvE unit, especially against hordes of weaker enemies, or hordes of mooks, at least. She's incredibly powerful, because she can lock down 3 movement units forever. That's honestly just kind of broken. So I use Rewind right at the start here. And Narm actually fails to kill the lobster here. Sometimes she manages to kill it, sometimes she doesn't. So in this particular run, she failed to kill it, but it didn't really matter either way. The important thing is that you kill the lobster. And the Forest Priest will take damage from Lifine's fixed damage, which should leave him low enough to get killed on the next turn. So you can see just how crazy the inflated stats are here. That Lifine actually nearly kills herself attacking into the Forest Priest. But the good thing is that most of these enemies only have 3 move, with +2 move if they use Cold Blood or Tidal Surge. So I can pretty much kite them forever. I don't have to worry too much. The most annoying thing is trying to figure out what exactly their pathing is going to be, because they often just do things that just make no sense. They take routes that would be longer than a logical route. So Sonya's Chaos Spiral is back up, so I can use that to kill the assassin this turn. And like I said, Sonya does need to be a certain level of power to be able to do this. Now, obviously, if you're going to allow yourself to use SSR units, you could probably use someone like Yulia instead. She would work pretty well here. Not only could she lock down enemy units with Godly Menace, but you just need to make sure to kill assassins with her. And I think the rest of the enemy she could probably take care of without too much difficulty. But anyway, here I am actually just checking which of the aquatics have used up Tidal Surge and which ones have not. And I'm making sure to lock down the one that has not used Tidal Surge. So this silence is actually unnecessary. So if he had used Tidal Surge, he obviously would have only been able to move 2 blocks, and that wouldn't be enough to reach Narm. And the other guy was obviously out of range as well. He didn't move last turn, probably because there's some weird AI quirks where sometimes they think they can't reach one of their targets and then they just don't move. But I did factor into the possibility that he might have moved, so it didn't matter either way. In fact, him not moving actually just makes it more annoying for me, because now they're all clumped up, which is not what I want. And of course, I need to stay 3 blocks away, or I need to stay far enough away from the Sheikah Mage so that he cannot hit me with Spatial Strike. Once again, I'm just checking if he has Tidal Surge up, and I just need to count out the squares properly to make sure they cannot reach me. Like I said in the Origins clear, Tidal Surge or Aqua Blast in water is strong enough to one-shot your tank sometimes when your stats are disinflated. So obviously a DPS would really stand no chance. For the most part anyway, most DPS would stand no chance. Okay. So that guy doesn't have Tidal Surge this turn. So I actually tried to KO this Aquatic General here, but Sonya can't quite do it. It's okay. I can't reach anyway, so... So aim on Narm here so that she can refresh Roundabout. Lock down this guy. I'm back. So as you can see, I'm playing it safe for the most part. And there's no need to take unnecessary risks because the turn limit on this map is very lax. So it's better to just take the chance, or take no chances. Make sure you don't get killed in one hit, which happens very often. So now they're all clumped up. I don't want to run the risk of failing a KO or something, so I'm just going to run back. I still have Sky Archers on both Liphany and Narm, not only so that they can fly over the holes on this map, but also because this Lobster has Master of Ice. I need to make sure I can take it and still be able to run the normal amount of blocks I would be able to. So the AI is kind of giving me a hard time here because They're moving in a way that keeps them clumped together, which makes it very risky to engage, so I'm still going to stay out of range. Until at least the lobster's guard goes down. It should be happening this turn. Of course, that didn't help because they all decided to end turn one tile next to me. But that's okay, I can just cast Acid Burns on them so that the lobster doesn't heal them. So just use a normal attack here, take out the Aquatic General. Now I am in range to get Spatial Strike to the face, but that's okay, because Lobster moves first, and I get shuffled around, but it doesn't mean anything. It should be easy to clean up these last two enemies without much trouble. Yeah, Spiral here. All that's left is a lobster, so I just gotta take him out. Alright, so that's gonna be it for the third Battleground, for this 4th Balloon Battleground. See you guys in the next one!